So I want you to picture this scenario for a second. You're walking down this really crowded, super noisy hallway.
Oh, yeah, like an airport terminal or something?
Exactly, like a chaotic airport. People are talking over each other, phones are ringing everywhere. It is just total chaos.
Right.
And you pass two people. But right as you walk by, one of them suddenly drops their voice, like to this really urgent, hushed whisper, and they say, "But no one knows the real reason it failed."
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right? What happens in your brain right then? I mean, even if you are, say, 10 minutes late for a critical meeting,
Yeah.
you lean in.
You literally can't help it.
You simply cannot help it. Your brain entirely hijacks whatever agenda you had and just it demands to know the secret.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
So welcome to today's deep dive, because
Yeah.
we're looking at this fascinating stack of source material today that, well, it essentially blueprints how to artificially manufacture that exact hushed whisper.
Right, but in a digital space.
Exactly, in a digital space. We're
Yeah.
looking at these collections of copywriting and content hooks, like the literal sentence structures that are formulated to make you just freeze mid-scroll.
And completely surrender your attention. It's really about the hidden architecture of human influence, you know?
Yeah.
The material we're analyzing today, it isn't just some random assortment of catchy phrases that social media influencers use.
Right, it's way deeper than that.
Way deeper. The sources actually categorize these communication strategies into 4 very distinct phases of psychological engagement.
Okay, I love a good framework.
Yeah, it starts with capturing raw attention, then moving to establishing rapid authority, then generating transactional value, and finally forging this deep emotional resonance.
Okay, let's unpack this, because our mission today, it's far bigger than just, reading a list of marketing templates so you can get a few more likes on a post.
Oh, absolutely.
The goal here is to really reverse engineer why our brains are so fundamentally biologically wired to click and read and connect with these specific arrangements of words.
Right.
We want to arm you, the listener, with this psychological toolkit. I mean, whether you're attempting to lead a tense board meeting or write a company-wide policy email that people actually read.
Which is a miracle in itself.
Right. Or even just explain a complex concept without watching your audience's eyes totally glaze over. Understanding how to command and sustain human attention. I mean, that is the ultimate modern superpower.
It really is. And the progression we see in these sources, it is incredibly deliberate.
Yeah, it feels very intentional.
Oh, totally. It maps perfectly onto how the human brain naturally evaluates new information.
Right.
So we're going to trace that journey. We're moving from capturing that raw, almost involuntary biological response at the very beginning, all the way to building a resilient human connection.
A connection that actually defies all the endless noise of the internet.
Exactly.
Well, that journey obviously has to start with sheer survival, which brings us to the first category in our sources. They call it the instant hook.
Ah, yes. The first 2 seconds.
Yeah, the explicit directive here is capturing attention within the first 2 seconds. And, I mean, 2 seconds is nothing.
It's literally the blink of an eye.
Right. But before you can educate someone, or before you can build any kind of meaningful relationship, you have to force them to stop whatever they are already doing.
You have to interrupt their pattern.
Exactly. Let's look at the phrasing they use to achieve this. One template in the source is, "Everyone told me this wouldn't work until it did."
Oh, that's a classic one.
Yeah. And another is, "This is the truth no one tells you about blank."
Right, right.
But the one that really stood out to me, it was, "What I was silently ruining my progress in."
Oh, silently ruining.
Yeah.
The phrasing there is incredibly loaded. I mean, it's
Yeah.
engineered to bypass the logical brain entirely.
Right. But here is where my radar sort of goes off.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at another one of these instant hooks, and it says, "You're probably doing blank wrong and don't even realize it." If I walk into a meeting and just open with, "Hey guys, you're probably doing this wrong and you don't even realize it," I feel like I'm risking immediate alienation.
It definitely feels aggressive.
Yeah, it comes across as confrontational, maybe even a little arrogant. So why would starting a conversation by implicitly insulting the audience's competence be considered a foundational tactic for engagement?
Well, the discomfort you're pointing out, it makes total sense from a social etiquette standpoint.
Right, it's just rude.
Exactly. But to our biological hardwiring, that discomfort is an absolute magnet.
Really?
Yeah. That specific hook manipulates 2 highly potent psychological levers simultaneously.
Okay.
You've got the negativity bias and the curiosity gap.
Okay, break those down for me.
So evolutionarily speaking, our brains are optimized to prioritize bad news or, potential threats over positive information.
Because keeping us alive is job number one.
Exactly. Think about a prehistoric human. If they ignore a beautiful sunset, they go on to live another day. It's fine. But a prehistoric human who ignores a faint rustling in the bushes, that might be a predator.
Yeah, they do not survive to pass on their genes.
Precisely.
So, suggesting that someone is doing something wrong,
Yeah.
or using a phrase like silently ruining, that is basically the digital equivalent of manufacturing a rustle in the bushes.
That is exactly what it is.
Wow. It's like finding out there's a slow carbon monoxide leak in your house or something.
Yes, that's a perfect analogy.
Because you might feel perfectly fine right now, but the invisible nature of the threat makes it absolutely impossible to ignore. You just have to investigate it.
Because that invisible threat demands immediate cognitive resources, it forces the brain completely off autopilot.
Right.
When a sentence suggests a hidden truth or a silent ruin, it triggers that primal threat detection system. Because remember, you only have 2 seconds to halt a scrolling thumb.
Or stop someone from mentally checking out of an email.
Right. A polite throat clearing just won't achieve that. You have to create this chasm between what they currently know and what they suddenly realize they must know in order to be safe.
Or successful or socially secure.
Exactly.
So that's the curiosity gap in action then. When I read, everyone told me this wouldn't work until it did, my brain violently opens a loop.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the thing? Why did people say it would fail? How did they make it work?
Because the brain absolutely detests an unresolved narrative loop, so it sticks around to find the closure.
And that biological compulsion, that is what buys you the next phase of the interaction.
Exactly. But as you know, pure shock value expires incredibly fast.
Oh, totally. Let's say you've successfully ambushed my amygdala.
Right.
You got my 2 seconds. But if you just keep yelling, look out, you're doing it all wrong, without actually delivering a solution, the rustle in the bushes turns out to be nothing.
It's an empty threat.
Right. You become the boy who cried wolf, which translates to modern clickbait.
And people hate clickbait.
They despise it. So to keep someone's attention, you have to transition from being the threat to being the savior.
Which requires a total pivot in your communication strategy.
Okay, so how do we pivot?
You move from disrupting their reality to serving as their guide. The sources actually label this next phase beginners and how-to.
Right, the beginners and how-to list.
And they offer a very explicit formula for this stage. It literally says, teaching plus simplifying equals authority.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. That equation really made me pause. Teaching plus simplifying equals authority. Let me read a few of the hooks designed for this stage.
Go for it.
How to start blank without getting overwhelmed. Or the 3-step method I use to simplify blank. And the biggest trap for beginners in blank and how to avoid it.
The tone shift is massive there.
It is massive. We've gone from you are in danger to I have drawn you a map.
Yes.
But I really want to explore that formula because historically, society has often associated authority with extreme complexity. We tend to revere the professor who uses impenetrable academic jargon, right?
Okay.
Or the tech CEO who just speaks in complex acronyms.
Right. Sounding smart by being confusing.
Yeah. We've been conditioned to think complexity equals intelligence. So why does this source insist that simplifying is the ultimate flex of authority?
Well, historically, we lived in an information-scarce environment.
Oh, yeah?
In that world, complexity signaled access to rare, highly specialized knowledge. If you knew the jargon, you were part of the elite guild.
That makes sense.
But today, the listener, you, me, everyone, we are operating in an environment of toxic information abundance.
Toxic abundance. I love that phrasing.
We are drowning in data and opinions and noise. We don't lack information anymore. We are starving for clarity.
Wow. So when someone introduces unnecessary complexity now, they aren't signaling their own intelligence at all.
No, not at all.
They are just increasing my cognitive load. They're making my already exhausted brain burn more calories just to decode what they're saying.
Exactly.
And subconsciously, I resent them for it.
The resentment is very real, and it destroys trust. People simply do not trust communicators who add to their cognitive burden.
They implicitly trust communicators who alleviate it.
Yes. When you use a phrase like the 3-step method or append the promise without getting overwhelmed to your topic, you are throwing a psychological life raft to a drowning person.
You're saying, I've got you.
You are signaling that you have already done the heavy lifting. You have waded into the chaos, sifted through all the irrelevant data, and extracted only the essential, actionable pieces.
Because true mastery isn't the ability to memorize the textbook. It's the ability to distill the textbook into a single profound paragraph.
Perfectly said.
The words used in these hooks, like method, trap, routine, they all promise structure.
They do.
They tell the reader that the terrifying unknown has been safely categorized.
Right.
Okay, so we've hijacked their threat response to get their attention right, and we've thrown them a life raft of simplicity to build rapid trust.
We are now their guide.
Exactly. So the next category in the source material focuses on tips, tools, and hacks. And the aim here is what they call practical value that generates saves and shares.
Right. This represents the moment the relationship becomes highly transactional.
Which feels like a dirty word, but it's important.
It is a totally necessary stepping stone to deeper influence.
Let's look at the language here,
Yeah.
because it's very specific. The templates include things like, the lazy way I organize my blank, but it works.
I love that one.
Or, how to cut your blank time in half without losing quality.
Mm.
And 5 small habits that improve my blank instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's stop overcomplicating blank. Here you have a simple approach.
It's just pure, frictionless utility.
It is like handing someone a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
But I do have to challenge the specific vocabulary being weaponized here.
Oh, how so?
Words like lazy way, instantly, shortcuts cut your time in half. Does leaning heavily on these words feed into a culture of extreme impatience?
That's a fair question.
Are we just optimizing for an audience that refuses to do deep, meaningful work anymore?
It's incredibly easy to read those words as a capitulation to a lazy culture. But the underlying mechanism there is actually about validating the exhaustion economy.
The exhaustion economy. Explain that.
Think about it. Time and energy are the single most precious resources any professional or parent or student has today.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone is burnt out.
We are chronically overscheduled. So when a communicator offers the lazy way or a method to cut your time in half, they aren't necessarily promoting actual laziness.
Okay.
They are demonstrating profound empathy. They are acknowledging the audience's fatigue.
Oh, wow. It's empathy disguised as a life hack.
Exactly.
You're telling the audience, I know you're tired, I know you have zero time, so I built a tool that respects your limitations.
Yes.
That completely reframes it for me. I didn't think of it like that.
It's powerful.
But there's another layer here that the source mentions, which is generating saves and shares.
Yeah.
Why does providing a time-saving tip translate into someone hitting a share button and sending it to their colleagues? What is the psychology of that transaction?
Well, sharing information is rarely just an altruistic act of distributing facts.
Right, we aren't just being nice.
No, it is an exchange of social currency. When you find a secret shortcut in horrendous city traffic and you immediately text your friends about it, you aren't just helping them out.
What else am I doing?
You are elevating your own status within the group. You become the resourceful one. You become the hero who brought fire back to the village.
Oh my gosh, so when I forward an email titled, The 10-Minute Routine That Changed How I Approach My Inbox, I'm actually trying to make myself look smart by association.
100%.
I am using your content as a tool for my own social elevation in the workplace.
The content makes the sharer look competent and helpful. That is why the value in this phase must be quantifiable and instantly recognizable.
Right, like 5 small habits.
Exactly. 5 small habits is a safe package to share because the payoff is obvious and immediate. The utility is undeniable, and the social reward for sharing it is high.
This is such a fascinating progression. I mean, we've shocked them into paying attention.
Yep.
We've established our authority by lowering their cognitive load.
Mm-hmm.
And we've given them such undeniable utility that they are actively distributing our ideas to their own networks to boost their social standing.
You're building an army of advocates.
Yeah. And on paper, it looks like you've won the game right there. You have influence.
It does look that way.
But the source material introduces a 4th and final category. And honestly, the tone of it is incredibly jarring compared to where we started.
It is jarring.
But skipping this final phase is exactly why so many communicators and brands and leaders ultimately fail to maintain the audience they've built.
Really?
Because utility makes you useful,
Yeah.
but usefulness is a commodity.
Okay, let's look at this final section. It's labeled Storytelling and Mindset.
The core directive here is Show your human side. Connect deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Let's examine these templates. This failure in blank taught me more than any success. Or the day I almost quit blank but didn't.
Very different vibe.
Totally. No one talks about how lonely blank can feel sometimes, and I used to think blank was selfish. Now I see it as self-care.
Yeah, the arrogant confidence from step 1 is completely
The
gone.
mask of the flawless expert is just intentionally discarded.
Exactly.
It feels like a paradox, though. I
What
mean,
is?
we began this entire deep dive with supreme, almost aggressive confidence. Like, you're doing this wrong, and I know the secret truth.
Right.
Now we are ending with, I almost quit. I failed massively. I am incredibly lonely. Why is publicly broadcasting your biggest failures and insecurities suddenly the ultimate strategy for solidifying influence?
Because there is a vast psychological difference between an audience and a community.
Okay, unpack that.
An audience is transactional. They will happily consume your 3-step methods and your time-saving templates.
Yeah.
But the moment another creator or a competitor or an AI tool comes along, offering a 2-step method or a faster hack, your audience will abandon you instantly.
Because they only cared about the tool, not the person holding it.
Precisely. You're useful, but you're entirely replaceable.
Wow.
So to convert a transactional audience into a loyal, resilient community, you must deploy a vulnerability anchor.
A vulnerability anchor.
Yes. We often believe that projecting perfection makes people respect us more, but in reality, relentless perfection creates a massive alienating distance.
It puts you on an unattainable pedestal.
Exactly. If you only present yourself as the flawless guru who has never struggled, people might download your hacks, but they will never relate to you. Struggle is the universal human language.
So by saying, the day I almost quit, I'm physically stepping down from the pedestal and just sitting in the dirt next to the listener.
That's a beautiful way to put it. You're dissolving the hierarchy.
I'm triggering the powerful Me Too effect.
Yes. When a leader or an expert admits, no one talks about how lonely this role can feel, the internal response from the listener is immediate relief.
They think, I thought it was just me. I thought I was failing.
Exactly. You create an emotional resonance that purely practical advice can never achieve.
Right.
A tool gets bookmarked in a browser and forgotten, but a deeply honest story about rebuilding confidence after a crushing public failure, that creates a permanent emotional tether.
You know, I'm realizing that this vulnerability actually works retroactively, too.
Oh, how so?
It validates the authority we built in the second stage. It proves that the 3-step method we taught earlier wasn't just sterile theory we memorized from a textbook.
Oh, that's brilliant.
We are proving that our map is accurate because we drew it while trying to navigate our way out of our own failures.
Yes.
We earned the right to teach the shortcut because we survived the agony of taking the long, wrong way.
The vulnerability proves the authenticity of the authority. It completely closes the psychological loop.
It really does. You aren't just an expert lecturing from on high. You are a fellow traveler who just happens to be a few steps further down the path, turning around to offer a hand.
That is a brilliant way to frame it.
So let's step back and look at the massive architectural blueprint we've just decoded for you today.
It's quite a journey.
It is. We've charted the 4 chronological phases of deeply effective communication. And these are tactics you can use whether you're outlining a keynote speech, structuring a critical presentation, or even just writing an article.
Right.
First, you have to use the unexpected to steal those initial 2 seconds. You leverage the negativity bias and the curiosity gap to just jolt the brain off autopilot. Second, you must pivot from the disruptor to the guide. You build rapid trust by simplifying the complex and violently protecting your listener's cognitive load.
Protect the cognitive load at all costs.
Third, you deliver massive frictionless utility. You provide the tools and hacks that acknowledge their exhaustion and give them the social currency to share with others. And finally, the 4th stage. You drop the Guru Act. You utilize vulnerability and shared struggle to transform a transactional exchange into a permanent, loyal connection.
It is a meticulously engineered sequence, and it perfectly mirrors how the human brain processes threat, relief, reward, and ultimately trust.
It really is perfect.
But, analyzing these formulas so clinically does leave us with a rather profound puzzle to consider.
Oh, I love where this is going. What's the puzzle?
Well, we've established that these sentence structures are brilliantly effective at hacking human evolutionary psychology. They hit all the right biological buttons.
For you.
But consider the current trajectory of technology. As these formulas become more widely known, And crucially, as artificial intelligence becomes perfectly adept at replicating these exact cadences at scale,
Oh, wow.
what happens to the human brain? I mean, AI can already generate a perfectly structured instant hook, followed by a simplified how-to wrapped in a beautifully engineered narrative of synthetic vulnerability.
Synthetic vulnerability. Gives me chills.
Right. So when the internet is entirely flooded with this manufactured authenticity, will our brains eventually develop a protective immunity to these hooks?
Mhm.
Will we start to recognize the rhythm of engineered vulnerability and instinctively tune it out as manipulation?
Or, and hear me out, is the human craving for a whispered secret, the relief of a simplified path, and the emotional resonance of a shared struggle so deeply biologically hardwired into us that it simply won't matter?
That is the question.
Will we gladly take the bait, even if we know the empathy was generated by an algorithm, simply because the story feels so good in the moment?
It's a heavy thought.
That is an incredibly wild thought to leave on. Thank you to the listener for bringing such a fascinating, revealing stack of source material to the table today.
It was a great deep dive.
I know I am going to be scrutinizing every headline, every email subject line, and every social post completely differently from now on.
You'll never unsee it.
No, I won't. And we encourage you to keep questioning, keep learning, and start observing how these 4 phases of psychological hooks appear in your own everyday interactions.
Keep an eye out.
The next time you catch yourself leaning in to hear that hushed whisper in the hallway, ask yourself exactly which part of your brain just took the bait. Until next time.